No, and I don't think Andy realized this. And one of the things is you have to realize that Andy these are all recovered memories.
Right.
And if anybody knows about recovered memories, there's always a part of you that kind of doubts it, which is why when he found that photo, it was so exciting to him, because it was just rock-solid proof.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, they did send people into the future, and they talk about this a lot. But you realize that the future that they go to is not necessarily the future that's really going to happen.
Right.
And this is a really important piece. So there's all these what they call potential timelines.
Yes.
And so you get sent into the future, and for instance, one of the things I remember very clearly, he said that he saw in the year 2011 that the Supreme Court was underwater in Washington, D.C.
I remember that. I thought, gee, that's,
And I don't think it's going to happen. I'll tell you. And this is one of those things where he may have gone on an alternate timeline. This is the thing about the time travel that is so bizarre. And in fact, they were instructed you do not disturb things. When you go into the past, you do not do anything that could significantly alter the past, because it could completely screw up the present.
Well, we know that with military operations, if there's anything that they can do to screw things up, they will.
Yeah, but see, now, wait a minute, because this Project Pegasus was not one of those that was being done, I don't think, to destroy the planet.
Oh, no.
Or to enslave the planet. This is the thing. A lot of people think, everybody in the CIA is bad, or FBI and all those secret programs are all bad.
Oh, heavens, no.
That is not the case at all. A lot of these people see the bigger picture, and they're trying to get the Earth back on track so that we can become a more transformational place.
That's right. And you want to hear something funny? You know who their major handler was?
Who?
Donald Rumsfeld.
Well, yes, and I do acknowledge that Rumsfeld is not a pretty guy.
No.
But if you talk to him about the overall purposes of the program, it wasn't nefarious.
Right.
They were trying
I got that.
Yeah. So there were some things. Donald Rumsfeld was involved, and so was Dick Cheney, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
But one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, I've worked with the military, which was really helpful for me because I didn't know a lot about the military. But they are always talking about contingency planning. Mm-hmm. And what that means is you've got to plan for the worst case scenario. And because you're always planning for the worst case scenario, and then you have contingency plans and contingency plans for contingency plans. And so there's a way that they become very focused on the paranoid sort of way of thinking.
Right.
And it's this paranoid way of thinking that makes them sometimes look almost evil. And, sometimes there truly are, I don't believe there's any true deep evil, but there is subjective evil in the way I look at things.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the greed and power does get the better of people, and they do things that are very, very bad.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, there's a lot of people, everybody has a part of them that wants to do the right thing. And almost all these programs are a mix.
Yes. And I think you might have mentioned it, they're compartmentalized. So
yes, right.
Many people don't even know that they're contributing to something that might be killing off half humanity. They just know that they put this little piece together, and it goes into the next room, and somebody else takes the next step, and blah, blah, blah. So, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. What I'm very curious about, and always curious about, are the people at the top that know all of it.
Well, this is the thing, though. Does anybody really know all of it? And I really don't think so.
I wonder.
Well, I'll tell you, this is what I think, basically the people who are involved in all this time travel and stuff, they were trying to predict, and they, David Wilcock even talks about this, and he's one of the really good minds on all this stuff. If people don't know, Wilcock.
Yeah,
and he talks a lot about the different timelines, and they've always been using these timelines because they've known about time travel, and assuming that it was going to be, they would choose which timelines have the highest probability of actually occurring. But what's happened is none of the timelines that were considered the most probable are now happening. We're off of those main timelines, and this is part of the reason I'm fairly convinced that nobody really knows what's going on, even at the highest levels right now.
I'm with you on that one, because over and over, I have seen projections of this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and it just doesn't. And, the one exception I would say is that the one person who's having a pretty fair amount of success with his predictions is Cliff High from Half Past Human. He does the WebBot project.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a lot in there that is chaotic, but it's almost like it's the chaos before renewal.
Mm-hmm.
And as I see it, there has to be some kind of major shocks to our planet.
People need a shaking up. Our world needs a good shaking up, but it doesn't have to be the Armageddon scenario where two-thirds of the planet dives off.
Absolutely not, and I don't think it's going to be at all. In fact, if anything, I think it's going to be the opposite. We've been in Armageddon since we were born. Yeah. We're on our way up now. We're coming out of the barrel, and what is it? Plato's allegory of the cave.
Right, exactly.
We're moving into the light, and it's going to hurt our eyes a little bit, so you bring your sunglasses.
Yes. Well, and there's good evidence of this, Lance. If you think about it, remember, we grew up thinking that at any moment the world war could break out between the USSR and the United States, and at any moment our world could be destroyed. We grew up with that cloud in our consciousness continually.
Yes.
And that cloud is now gone.
Well, yes.
There's still there's the terrorists who might do us in and all that sort of stuff. But people who are savvy are starting to see that it's all fear-mongering.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And they're all forms of the same basic, you might say, plan to keep us all thrown off guard and keep us from realizing that we are connected.
Right.
The more that we can be kept divided and fighting amongst ourselves, we're under complete control. When we're angry, expressing anger and hatred and the rest of it, and divisiveness and judgment and the rest of it, those are all things that nail our spiritual feet to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And so by making changes within and beginning to open our hearts to other people, knowing that we are all one fabric and one interconnected, woven together tapestry, that you can't do anything in your little area and have it not affect the edge of the tapestry.
That's right. And that's where it's a call to every one of us to look at where are we, and each of us are places where we're not in full integrity.
That's right.
And I'm continually looking. I did it, in fact, just the other day. I did one of those reviews, and I found a couple places like, I need to work on this. I'm not in full integrity here.
Right.
And we can do that continually.
I find ways that, I find things in retrospect where I think I'm awake, because I try to keep a mindset of being present in the moment.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes that's just an automatic response, and I realize later, I wasn't present to certain things, so how can I say I was conscious in that moment? I wasn't.
Right.
So, you just have to continue to be kind to yourself as you see these things, because it's not a judgment, it's just an observation to help you move back onto the right track.
Exactly. And a lot of people have a tendency to want to beat themselves up when they find it's like, I'm so bad, I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
But that actually doesn't really serve us either.
No, not at all.
It's like, I screwed up. Okay, and what's next? What do I do now to help balance that?
Exactly.
And just be aware, a lot of us are, imprinted from we're young, whether it's from our families or growing up, whatever, that, we're bad and we deserve to be punished. And that kind of programming is the stuff that's we can work on. That's actually a way of being out of integrity.
Yeah,
when we're seeing ourselves as bad, because the truth is we're all divine beings.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you can start unraveling that, and when you see it, there I am again, looking at myself as a bad, terrible person. Okay. And I remember my deeper intention, I am a divine being manifesting, beauty or whatever you want to call it in the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
And when we come back to that, we can really start rocking this world.
Oh, absolutely. I see so much insecurity in myself and in other people, from years of feeling that we're less than, that, everybody else is more than we are. And these are all just beliefs that need to be brought up, examined, and released.
Right, and it's not about repressing them, which is the old way. The old way is like you shut out anything that's kind of shadow material, that's dark or scary like that. But now it's like, no, let them come up fully. It's like, okay, there's that part of me that wants to beat myself up or that wants to do whatever, and fully acknowledge, like, okay, there it is. And if you can't, even trace the roots and go, okay, and then come back, what is my deeper intention here? And so it's, because I do think that the repression of the shadow is what caused a lot of the kind of crazy stuff going on in the world.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And the other thing is just one last little piece of information here is that before we can be loving anyone else, because we're all looking for love in usually the wrong places, we need to start with ourselves.
You bet.
And until we learn how to love ourselves unconditionally, there is not a prayer in the world that we will have a fulfilling relationship with a partner, especially if that partner doesn't have self-love. So, it's vital to be able to at least love ourselves as much as we love our own four-legged animals.
Yes.
And many of us don't,
That's right.
We haven't reached that point yet.
Yeah, we love our dogs much more than we love ourselves. A lot of people,
Well, Fred, we're coming to the end of the show, and would you want to let us know what your websites are again, and leave us with some kind of positive thought for the night?
Yeah, the website that lists all of our websites, again, is peerservice.org. That's www.peerservice.org. And then the popular one for the cover-ups is wanttoknow.info, www.wanttoknow.info. And, I guess the thing I would say, I would really like to tell everyone is that you and we are amazingly powerful, beautiful beings. And that by opening to this and remembering this, even as we see the disempowering parts of ourselves and other people, remember that on the deepest levels, we're all powerful, beautiful, loving beings.
Yes.
And when we move from that place and remember to come back to that place, we're going to really start having a great time transforming ourselves and transforming our world. And thank you for being here, and thank you for joining me and joining us in this wonderful play.
Well, thank you, Fred. You're magnificent as always. And
thank you.
As I said, I highly encourage everyone to check out all your sites, donate if possible at all. This is one of the best causes on the Internet.
Thanks so much, Lance.
All right, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
You bet. We have to meet in person sometime, too.
Yes, well, I'm going to come down to the Bay Area sometime in the next few months.
Great, definitely let me know. All right.
All right, thanks.
All right, much love to everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.